Hello, my name is Sally Pinto, and I'm the Program Director for the Yonkers NORC, Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. We serve seniors 60 plus in Northeast Yonkers. We are under the auspices of WJCS and the Yonkers Office for the Aging. We also have a resource specialist and a nurse on staff. We conduct virtual programming in partnership with the Yonkers Public Library on a daily basis. Enjoy the program.
So as I say every week, especially if you're new to me, if you have pillows, blankets, towels, or like a sweatshirt, anything that you want to have nearby to kind of think about filling the space between your body and the floor. And I'll always give you tips about where you can add the props. This isn't a heat building practice. So if you know you get a little chilly because it is chilly outside, you can always have a sweatshirt with you or a blanket. Yeah, so let's start seated. So as we move through our practice today, we won't meet as many postures as you may meet in more of a flow class, but we will hold the poses. So I really want you to focus on the breath, kind of just connecting with your body and softening the body to allow it to just open up a little bit more. As we hold the positions longer, our body can actually relax into it a little bit deeper. So as you come into a seat, you can always sit up on a pillow or a blanket. And let's actually start with our legs out a little wide today. My puppy wants to be in the middle of the show, so hopefully she'll be quiet for us. But if not, it's just part of our practice. I'm sure you have your pets around too that might be trying to distract you or eat your clothes or eat your hair. Drop it. So as you bring the legs out wide, like I said, you can sit up on a blanket or a pillow, or you can even place a pillow or a blanket behind the knees. To just kind of elevate the knees a little bit. And we're not trying to go for our deepest straddle here. We're just trying to find a place where our legs can soften onto the floor, where we can soften our toes and our ankles. You might feel a little activation through the spine with trying to keep the spine a little long and tall. You are welcome to close your eyes or just soften through your gaze. And just begin to feel as if the muscles of your legs are trying to melt away from the bones. So especially in our first pose that we take, our first shape, we might find that it takes a little bit longer to really relax our body. Just start to feel the inhales and the exhales slowly lengthen. Softening the shoulders. Softening the jaw. You are welcome to stay here with the spine up a little tall, or you can slowly begin to round the spine and then maybe feel as if you're trying to lean the torso forward. So just a little hinge at the hips. And we're always going for our Goldilocks spot. So we don't want to go too far to any point where we might feel pain. And we don't want to go too little to the point where we're so supported that our body doesn't have the opportunity to release and find that stretch and that breakup of connective tissue. If you've started to lean the torso a little bit forward, I encourage you to use your hands for support, but also try not to let all of the weight shift into the hands. Really allow the arms to soften. Always bringing yourself back to your breath. If as we continue to hold, you feel like you have a little bit more space, feel free to go ahead and allow your body to soften a little bit closer towards the floor. Just a few more rounds of breath in this first straddle pose today. Last full round of breath here. If you're leaning forward, just nice and slow, start to bring yourself up. Let's bring our hands to the tops of the legs and just feel the spine grow nice and tall. You might feel good in your body to just stay here, or you can start to kind of round the spine, just like we did when we were coming forward. And then let's find that opposite. So start to feel your heart reach forward. Just a little gentle cat and cow here. And again, if this movement doesn't feel good, you're welcome to find something else, or just be still is always an option. Paying more attention to what is feeling comfortable and what your body needs, as opposed to doing the move in the way that it needs to be done for alignment. So let's keep our right leg long, and we'll start to bend our left leg. So you can even kind of shorten up that right leg, bringing the left foot on the inside of the right leg. Let's reach our arms all the way up to the sky. Take a full body stretch. And then start to turn the torso towards the right leg. So it doesn't matter how far it goes, just start to feel it turn towards the right, and allow your hands to drop towards the floor so that your right arm is towards the outside of your right leg and your left arm is towards the inside of your right leg. And just like we did on that first straddle, let's go ahead and stay tall for the first part of our shape. You might have to remind the leg to relax. For me, it helps to just kind of shake it out a little bit. Maybe wiggling the toes. Bringing your attention and your focus back to your breath. Just as we did in that first straddle, you are welcome to keep the spine tall. If you would like, you can start to kind of shift the upper body a little bit towards the right leg. Maybe round the spine. Maybe just rounding the spine while you're keeping the head and the shoulders aligned. You can release the head and the neck. Remind the leg to soften. Maybe even observing as we move through our practice today, where your body starts to try to compensate for the stretch, trying to protect your body from letting go. For me, anytime I change positions, my body instinctively starts to tense up. My leg wants to engage. So then when I arrive, I have to notice that that's happening, and then just remind the leg that I want it to stretch. I want it to relax. Bringing the awareness always back to your breath to help keep you present on your mat today. As we stay a little longer, know that you can always play with where you're at. Just because that's where you started, that doesn't mean that's where you have to stay. Couple more breaths here. Last breath. And always finding a really slow and intentional movement as you slowly rewind and bring yourself all the way back up. If there's any movement that your body craves, go ahead and take it. We'll slowly start to shift to the other side. So allow the left leg to extend and allow the right leg to bend. So what's cool with some of these two-sided poses is that just doing the other side is our counter. It is the way to reverse what happened on the first side, especially with the legs here. Let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Get that nice long stretch. And allow your torso to start to twist towards the left leg. Again, it doesn't matter how far it goes. And then allow the arms to soften to the floor. And we'll stay just where we land for the first bit of this pose today. You may observe or you may notice that a lot of what we do in yin is focused on the lower half of the body. So there are things we'll do that are upper body and shoulders and heart. But if you think about where a lot of tension might live, we use our legs all day, every day to get us from point A to point B. They're really strong to hold us up and move us around. And they often need just a little bit more attention than some other parts of the body, finding more of a balance for them. If you'd like, you can start to kind of shift the upper body forward. Again, your sides might feel a little different, so always encourage you to listen to your body, listen to your breath, move nice and slow. Connecting back with your breath. Few more rounds of breath here. Maybe you play with taking it a little bit deeper. Last round of breath. And as if you're moving in slow motion, start to lift your upper body upright. Turn back towards the center, and you can extend your legs long. Maybe shake them out. Maybe you even lean back on your hands and rock the knees a little bit from side to side. We'll take one final seated pose here. So let's bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to be out wide. So here you can slide pillows or blanket underneath the knees for an extra layer of support. And again, just like we did with our first few seated postures, we'll stay up nice and tall to begin. And now it doesn't matter where your feet are. They can be far away from you. They can be closer to you. Kind of find your Goldilocks spot, right? So there'll be a sweet spot for you today. And it might be different than yesterday or last week or this morning. If you would like, you are welcome to start to lean the upper body a little forward. Again, just like we've been doing. Always connecting back to your breath. Little while longer here. Again, you can play with where your Goldilocks spot is. Last round of breath. And slowly start to bring yourself all the way up. And again, you can straighten the legs, you can rock the knees a little bit. Take a couple rounds of breath, any movement that your body needs here. And then start to make your way into a tabletop position, coming onto your hands and your knees. And I also invite you to take a few rounds of breath when you get here, anything that you need. So maybe you move through a few cat-cows. Maybe just rock the hips a little bit. And start to transition all the way onto your belly. You can bend your knees when you get there and just gently rock the feet a little bit from side to side. You'll start to lengthen the legs out long. And you can keep your upper body rested on the floor. I'm just keeping mine lifted so that way you can still hear me. You can use your hands as a pillow or use an actual pillow underneath the head. You can bring your gaze to one side. And allow your right knee to come over to the right side. So you're letting the inside of the right leg rest on the floor. And your right knee is about in line with your hip. Relaxing the foot. If this is too much, I don't want you to place anything underneath the leg, but I just want you to extend your left arm and then just lean a little bit to the left side. So that way you're taking the curve of the stretch at the inner thigh and making it a little less open. Hey. And again, you can turn your gaze to one side. You can always roll a little bit to the left side. Feeling perhaps your belly rise and fall on the floor. And if you find yourself getting distracted by anything, trying to bring your attention to trying to create that space, feel like you're pressing away from the floor, and then feel like you're sinking into the floor, can help you bring your focus to right where you are. Couple more rounds of breath here. Slowly start to extend that right leg long to meet the left. You can take a moment of observation here to just notice what's going on from side to side. And then allow your left leg to come into the same thing. So allow that left inside of the leg to rest on the floor. If you had taken that modification by rolling a little bit to the opposite side, I encourage you to find the shape first and then play with the modification if you notice the side needs a little extra support as well. You can turn your head to the opposite direction. If your head was straight down, you can leave it there. Maybe switch the hands if the hands were a pillow. Sometimes it's just nice for the brain to go your not instinctive way. And again, I invite you to connect with the breath here. So just observe your body rising and falling away from the floor. Just a little while longer here. Last couple rounds of breath here. After your next breath, slowly start to extend your left leg back to meet your right. If you crave any movement here, feel free to take it. staying on your belly, just slowly start to slide your forearms out in front of you. So that way your elbows are resting on the floor. Your elbows can be a little underneath your shoulders or a little forward of your shoulders. That will just change the deepness of the back bend. And perhaps that gaze just shifts a little forward. So the first half of class, we did a lot of forward folding. So let's find a few rounds of breath of that opposite, allowing the spine to work the other way, allowing the head to work the other way. You can always take the elbows more forward. I wouldn't go a little bit wider just because it will kind of let your upper body fall to the floor. And we want to still be a little upright, but just using our elbows for support. You can even move the head around as you hold here, right? You don't need to keep the head completely still. Maybe you're nice and slow, just rocking it from side to side, allowing all the tiny muscles of the neck to move and stretch. We're only going to stay in this Sphinx pose for 2 more rounds of breath. And then slowly start to release the upper body, let it drop back to the floor. And I want you to find the easiest way, the path of least resistance to come onto your back. So that might be just pressing yourself up and over like you're flipping like a pancake. You might come up to come onto your back, but I encourage the path of least resistance here. And then just take a few moments when you arrive. Your legs can be out straight or they can be bent. To just take in this new perspective. So we started seated today, and then we were on our belly, and now our gaze is up to the sky. And start to bend the knees and plant the feet on the floor. Take your feet as wide as your mat, or just a little bit wider than your hips. Stop. You can bring your arms out wide into a T and start to windshield wipe your knees from side to side. Drop it. And when the knees drop over to the right, allow them to pause. So we take this pose pretty frequently. If that right leg is out to the side, you can always place a pillow or a blanket underneath it for support. If it's not feeling good in your body to have the left knee also dropping over to the right, you can always plant the foot on the floor. Or you can even extend that left leg long on the mat. So think of it like a reclined tree. So it's almost like we're going for that butterfly shape on just the right leg, but just laying down. Checking back in with the breath. Couple more rounds of breath here. After your next breath, slowly start to let the legs come back to the middle. So if you had extended that left leg, go ahead and bend the knee so you can root the foot on the floor. Find that windshield wiper rock once again. And this time the knees will pause as they drop over to the left. And again, you can allow both knees to drop to the left. You can lift the right knee up so the foot is just gently resting on the floor. Or you can even just extend the right leg long. It's okay if your sides look a little different. Finding a place where you can hold. Finding a place where you can breathe. Almost done here. Finding your final breath. And then slowly allow your knees to come back up to the middle. And start to find your way into your final Shavasana. Allowing your legs to fall out in front of you. Arms fall by your side. Adding whatever support you might need here. Props underneath the knees, or finding a different position altogether. Taking the last couple of minutes in complete and total gratitude for your practice today. Shavasana. Starting to bring some awareness back into the space. Starting to bring some awareness back into the body. Inviting small movements back in. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. And slowly starting to roll onto your side. And taking the next couple of breaths to bring yourself up into a comfortable seat, keeping the focus inside. Allowing your hands to come to your heart center. Gently bow your head. Thank yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.
Hi, everyone. This is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis and Barbara from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Westchester County Legislator Ruth Walter, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.